Yo, how we doing, everybody?
Good,
boys.
Good.
Welcome back to the Lunch Table Podcast. Hope y'all are doing good today. And let's talk about this NFL Combine currently happening right now. Saya, what you think of this Combine so far?
To be honest, bro, I've not been paying attention. I've had a busy day.
Yeah.
Here, I'll talk about what
Bush.
I've seen. I'll talk 40s because usually that's what people gravitate towards first. So the two fastest ones ran today so far is by Calvin Austin out of Memphis and Velus Jones out of Tennessee. They both ran a 4.32. And then I have two surprising ones that I wrote down were Traylon Burks out of Arkansas, the receiver. He ran a 4.50, and that's surprising to me because he's 50 pounds heavier than every other receiver in the draft class so far. And then I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but Chig Ukongwu, the tight end out of Maryland, he ran a 4.52. So
yeah,
pretty good numbers there out of those guys. So
seems like a lot of tight end prospects are doing some rising today on the boards because hasn't been much talk about any tight ends.
It's always how it happens on Combine Day with tight ends. Like you never really know what you're getting at this point because of systems and how they fit into other schemes, but how they test usually helps a lot.
Olave just ran a 4.26.
Wow.
Dang. New
Dang.
fastest time.
New fastest time.
Wow. Well, hey, you guys heard it here live. I mean, Calvin Austin too as well ran a 4.32, which is pretty good for a receiver, obviously. But I mean, he also had 11.3 broad jump, and the dude isn't my height. He's 5'7" 3/4 and 160 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I mean, being able to jump like that and fly like that, being that light, is pretty impressive.
One of the biggest risers of the day, definitely.
Right.
I feel like it was kind of expected, low key. Out of Calvin
I was
Austin.
seeing some stuff about him.
He was supposed to be a burner, but I was surprised about Velus Jones. That one caught me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Him having the fastest time of the day. One I'm still waiting for is the kid out of North Dakota State.
Yeah.
The receiver?
Yeah, the receiver.
What's his name?
It's like his name again.
Christian
Watson,
Yeah. He also
with how tall he is, he's 6'4". He's about 215, 220. He had a great vertical, had a great
jumped
broad
out of the
jump.
building.
11.4.
If he tests well with that run, he might slot in the first round because there's been talks about him mid-second at this point with how he's been looking during the Senior Bowl. That one's I'm really watching. That one I would really watch. But I mean, no.
Desmond Ridder
overall,
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah, that one.
That's
that
a
one
surprise to me.
That's a surprise to me too. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I know. Yeah, D-Modge, go ahead.
I just want to say he's still my number one. That has not changed. Everything is literally just rising and rising for how he's testing right now. I mean, Kenny Pickett's hand size really hurts him in this situation. I mean, I get it. I get it's not the biggest red flag all the time. A lot of quarterbacks have succeeded with small hands.
Joe Burrow.
Michael Vick.
He's in a
Michael
range
Vick
though
had
where
the
it's not
same
even
size
a red
hand.
flag anymore. It's like a fucking red sign across the highway that you see every time you drive past for another mile. It's 8.5 inches. And I don't know. I think it's just solidifying Desmond Ridder for me as my number one quarterback. And Malik Willis, low-key, how he's been in the meeting rooms and everything, he's probably my highest riser right now. He's looking like he's my number two quarterback.
Malik Willis is my number one, but Kenny Pickett is still my number two. I don't think the hand size is that big of a deal. I mean, Michael Vick had the same size hands, and he's got a top 3 arm of all time, in my opinion.
I don't think the arm is the problem. I think it's the ball control and ball handling.
Well,
he wears the 2 gloves too, which I mean, like obviously he does it for a reason, and he's gotten pretty good, like and used to that. So I mean, I don't really see it as a concern.
And then even Joe Burrow, like when everybody was like hating on him, like when he was getting drafted, he came out and tweeted, he's like, "Oh, I should retire because my hand size is too small." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously, dude proved that he could play football this whole year. He finally got to play a whole season.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much proved, other than having one of the greatest NCAA seasons of all time. Granted,
I don't think it hurts him in the league at this point. Like, that's not what I was trying to say. I think when teams are looking at who they really want prospect wise, I think it can definitely hurt how they're looking at this point. I mean, Desmond Ritter's testing out perfectly at this point, and his accuracy issues that people were concerned with at the beginning of games have not shown so far with how he's throwing right now. So I think, I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's
see one of the things that I will say about wearing the 2 gloves is rainy game. What's happening? Is he taking them off, or he's going to throw with them? You know what I mean? That's
He's
something.
he's definitely just gonna keep them on. Like you're not gonna switch to something out of your element in the midst of a game, especially as a quarterback, when all you need is form. You know, if you have a great throwing form, it's not really gonna jump out of your hand.
And he wouldn't be the first quarterback to wear a glove on his throwing hand anyways. Yeah, Peyton Manning did it. Kurt Warner did it. Teddy Bridgewater always wears 2 gloves. I mean,
Teddy's 2 gloves. I mean, shoot, throwing out for the dead homies, but Ben Roethlisberger used to do it too. So
I mean, that's not how I meant
very
to say
true,
that.
very true.
All love. All love.
We'll keep some updates going on as the combine continues.
Yeah. I mean, Trevor's watching right now.
We got Trev.
He'll update us. He'll be our notification. Anyways, I know we had a couple things that we didn't really get to last episode, but here we go. Let's bring up Carson Wentz. Okay. I know we had some talk in it last episode before we actually started. I guess we can all agree, a few years ago, had an MVP type season, got hurt, ended up winning a ring. It's looking promising for him and the Eagles coming back, didn't go as well. Eagles moved on as well as he did. Went to Indy, looked for a new start, was hoping to be good. Everyone was hoping for him to be good. Pretty much had the playoffs on lock.
And
we all know what happened.
And the Colts fumbled the bag,
right,
missing the playoffs, losing to the Jags in week 17.
Having the best running back in the entire league.
Yeah. So once again, Carson Wentz is finding himself in a situation where he needs a new home. I went ahead and put together a couple of interesting things that I thought was pretty funny to me, because we all feel the same about Carson Wentz. And I actually got this from Colin Cowherd, just throwing it out there so it don't get plagiarized or whatever.
Shout out
to the herd. I have a comparison between 3 mystery quarterbacks. Okay. So first one, completion percentage, Carson Wentz 62.4, mystery QB 63.3, touchdowns, interceptions 27-7, 36-15, passer rating 94-92. Josh Allen. So 2 of those from Josh Allen's a little better, but still close enough, for Carson Wentz. Damn. This is the one that kind of shocked me. Touchdowns, interceptions, Carson Wentz 97.7, other guy 21.14. Passer rating, Carson Wentz 94.6, other guy 89.6. Big plays, Carson Wentz 42, other guy 35. That was Ryan Tannehill, who, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, probably do, coach of the year, right? Said, no, we're not trading Ryan Tannehill for Aaron Rodgers. Ryan Tannehill's our guy. Got the buy, got first round buy, got the 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill. We're good. So yeah, I thought it was very interesting. I saw, Carson Wentz obviously could be a good fit for Washington, possibly. We all know Carson Wentz, deserves to be on a team. There's teams out there that need Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz could be a starting quarterback, Mitch Trubisky can be a starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
funny thing is that actually there's a lot of talk around the league about Mitch Trubisky really Mitch Trubisky going somewhere else, because
I think he deserves a shot to be a starter again.
He got to learn and sit a couple years behind Josh Allen and kind of pick the mind of Brian Dable, who's now the Giants head coach. And people really trust a lot of those inside sources from chitter chatter around the league from team to team.
And then here's the thing again about you comparing Wentz's stats compared to Josh Allen, is you got to look at their schemes. I mean, granted, the Bills have a pretty decent running back decent running back core, I should say. I mean, they're not all like, top backs, but they get the job done. Obviously, they can run the ball whenever they want to. The Bills throw the ball a lot more than Indianapolis does. I mean, they have the weapons to do so. I mean, and they also, again, don't have the best running back in the league, in being Jonathan Taylor. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he just throws the ball a lot more, so his completion percentage, like it should be down. Throws a lot ball a hell of a lot more.
Well, you
But
also
the thing
gotta
is, yeah,
you gotta keep in mind Carson Wentz's targets in Indianapolis were Michael Pittman, and who else?
Right.
Like, there's no one.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no
bottom
receiving
10
core.
receiver room.
Yeah, there's no receiving core there. They have one top dog that can make some plays, but he's still a young guy that's trying to
Michael
figure
Pittman's a
out
beast,
his
but he's
way
young.
into the league. They should have surrounded him with some more talent on the outside for him to really have a prosperous year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think with Carson Wentz, like, I feel like he's proof that being a game manager at quarterback isn't such a bad thing, because I feel like he's got a lot of like raw talent, and like he can throw the ball from all sorts of crazy angles and has like a cannon on him and is really like mobile in the pocket. But I feel like he doesn't have that game manager ability to just kind of like run a clean turnover free offense and like do what the offense is good at, which is like, power running in the case of the Colts. And I don't know, I feel like his play style is a little outdated in the more like precise, calculated, fast-paced NFL of today. Like, I feel like he plays similar to like a Brett Favre. He's just kind of a gunslinger. And I feel like if Brett Favre were to be drafted today, he wouldn't pan out in the NFL because of that reason,
Just different eras. I don't know about not panning out, but
Isn't Patrick Mahomes a gunslinger though?
Yeah,
Are we
but
not
Pat
gonna
Mahomes
say-
is a
gonna say
lot more
Patrick-
calculated and clean
I understand.
than Carson Wentz.
But-
And he's also got a great offensive coordinator.
And what I'm
Gary
going to say
Buell
is
to help him
Carson
out.
Wentz. Personally, I think if you gave Carson Wentz, I'm gonna compare straight up, not Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is a completely different story than Carson Wentz is. Josh Allen is on Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, that level. Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill. If you put Wentz in that system and you put Ryan Tannehill in the Colts system, I think the Titans are the favorites to win the AFC. To me, Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. He did well. He had 27 and
27-7
with damn near no weapons. He would go into a system that has AJ Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry in the backfield, which I still think is the best running back in the league when healthy, easily. Don't give a damn. I love Jonathan Taylor. Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. Pure rusher, best running back. And they did it with a worse defense than the Colts. And they still play the way Tannehill's stats compared to Carson Wentz, not even comparable when you look at the offenses they had. I understand Julio was hurt, AJ Brown was hurt. They were usually hurt at different times. So you at least had one of them to play with. The depth in their room was way better than the Colts. Their old line is definitely not as good as the Colts. Not even close. I think you put Carson Wentz in that system, he plays way better. It's the same thing when people bring up the debate between Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott and how Kirk Cousins is in this great system, playing great, but he can never seem to win. And there's so many other issues going around it, not because of the quarterback themselves. I think Carson Wentz and damn near any other system, you give him the weapons that of these other quarterbacks he's been compared to, he performs better than a lot of these other players do. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of Carson Wentz slander about how he needs to be a game manager and how he's not doing his job. But I think he is doing his job. There's just a lot of moments, big moments, where he seems to have other players around him failing just as much as he seems to. So
I don't know. It's just every time I watch Carson Wentz, it just seems like he's always trying to do too much,
Oh yeah.
That's just like the vibe I get from watching him play.
I mean, he doesn't have that clutch gene, really. Obviously, of course, he had a clutch moment against the Cardinals. Throwing that late TD to TY, which is
we got an unofficial 4-2-1.
Really?
Wow. By who?
From who?
Thornton. Here, let me rewind.
4-2-1.
Damn.
4-2-1.
Wow.
Wow. That's blazing. That wouldn't that set the new combine
would
record?
set the record.
Beating
Yeah.
John Ross at a
John Ross had
4-2-2?
4.22. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Wow.
Taekwon Thornton out of Baylor.
Taekwon
Wow.
Thornton.
Crazy.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Shit. Well, I
That
mean, a
boy
lot of
quick.
a lot of
Dude,
these guys are
he's
comparing
6'3",
this.
185. He's
6'3"?
6'3", 185. running
Wow.
4.21.
Goodness.
Long.
An athletic specimen.
Wow.
Right.
Put some pounds on him.
That'd be disgusting. Wow. That'd be disgusting. Wow.
I mean, this year's receiver class is kind of similar to 2019. I mean, you know,
I don't know.
DK.
I have a feeling that this draft class of receivers has potential to be the best. You know, as like the years have gone by, you know, last year, 2 years ago, we've had great receivers come out, and we've been talking about, oh, this might be the best wide receiver draft class. Oh, this year might be the best. This draft class, pretty much all the way around, is deep. It's really deep. You can get value in, I would say, even in the third and early fourth round.
Yep.
Everybody drafts based off of how the quarterbacks are. That's always how it's been. If the quarterback class isn't
Right.
strong, a lot of people think the draft class isn't strong.
Right.
This draft class easily has, like you said, Sai, it is one of the deepest, and it's not like it's not top heavy either. It has elite talent at the top of the draft too. You have Evan Neal, Tyler Linderbaum, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, who's easily the best safety we've seen in a minute.
Yeah.
Best safety prospect, Derwin James.
Yeah, like
Wow.
there's
Yeah.
so much talent in
Yep,
this
all
draft.
day.
I think he might be better than Derwin James.
Oh, I
Yes.
definitely think that coming out of college, he is more NFL ready, more he's just more built for today's NFL offenses and having to deal with those.
Fast-paced offenses.
Right.
His like reaction time and the way he covers ground like blows my mind. Like in tape,
He's
Just
very rangy.
It's funny because he reminds me if you took Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and just merged them into one player. He has
That's
that
fair.
sideline
Yeah.
sideline quickness
That's
of
fair.
how Earl Thomas was in the deep pass, and then he can clear people, just clean cut kill in the run game. He's amazing. He does have a tendency to ankle tackle. He does, but when he does, I mean, I haven't seen him miss a tackle even when he does that.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, I haven't seen really any flaws to his game. He's just I can't wait to see him the fucking NFL.
He's
them Jags better take him at number one. You cannot miss with that. You cannot miss with that.
With that. That is a blue chip player to completely transform your defense around.
Yeah, no, it is.
But
It's
I mean, like
just
we were
one of
talking
those
about,
positions.
last time. I mean, it's like top 10 of those defensive players. I mean, every single one of them will change your whole defense around. Every single one of them, you know.
Too bad the Jags got rid of CJ Henderson. That could have been a nice young secondary they got going.
Oh yeah, it could be really good.
Where did
Yeah,
Henderson
nice.
end up going?
The Panthers.
Panthers
To
did him for, like, Dan Arnold or
to the
something.
loaded secondary of the Panthers.
Jeremy
now
Chin,
have
J.C. Horn,
Jeremy
C.J.
Chin.
Henderson.
Stephon
Yeah.
Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore's a
Stephon
free agent
Gilmore.
though. That
Still got
is-
J.C.
Yeah.
Horn coming back next
JC
year.
Horn. Yep. Wow.
Kind of forgot about that, dude.
Horn. Oh my
J.C. Horn was a
dude.
dog at the beginning of the
Wow.
season,
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
gonna prove that he's the best corner out of that draft.
I don't know.
Like,
Sertan had a really good start to his career.
Thurston had a great
Oh,
start to
yeah.
his career, but just watch.
He
J.C.
was also
Horn in that
healthy.
system.
But JC Horn doesn't get injured, and we don't know. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, it's all in perspective, and we'll just have to see with due time on how their careers play out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Shit. Tice. What do you got on the Eagles?
Oh yeah, perfect timing. Speaking of the draft here, so I was doing some thinking, right, as we were putting together those mock drafts earlier this week. These Eagles got 3 first-round picks in this upcoming draft, all in the top 20. They got like what, 15, 16, 19, I think.
Something like that.
Somewhere around
And
there.
nobody is really talking about the Eagles going out and trading for a quarterback, because when you think about it, if they really want to, they could go put out an offer for Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or one of those like really big name quarterbacks that could be on the move. And it would be better than any other offer that any other team could put together, because you would get a decent, serviceable quarterback in exchange in Jalen Hurts, and you would get potentially 3 first-round picks all in this draft, or you could get 2 in this draft, 1 in the draft next year. I mean, like the amount of capital that the Eagles have, I'm surprised that not more people are talking about them being in a like spot to potentially go get a big name quarterback and like make a run at it next year, because they made the playoffs this year with this team with a first-year head coach with Jalen Hurts. I think if you upgraded the quarterback, that could be a legit contender in the NFC.
Well,
I see. Go ahead, sorry.
I've seen that the current GM of the Eagles has backed up Hurts on multiple instances during this offseason. So it seems like their plan to go in this draft with 3 first-round picks is to
help
surround him with the absolute most talent that they can possibly provide.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Jalen Hurts has a lot of potential, obviously.
I guess it comes down to, are you sold on Jalen Hurts or not? And I personally, like, I don't know. I don't think I am.
That's where I was going to go at. I was going to say, because since you're obviously a big Packers fan, I was going to say, let's say the Eagles go 3 first with Jalen for Aaron. What are your like thoughts about that? You know,
if it comes to the Eagles putting out an offer for Aaron Rodgers, I would say keep Jalen Hurts, because I would rather see what Jordan Love can do with the Packers than what Jalen Hurts can do with the Packers. But no, I mean, if it really came down to Rodgers wants a trade and he's willing to go to Philly, I would nab up those 3 first-round picks. I mean, if our back's against the wall, I'd rather get those 3 first than just have him retire, you know?
And then going off of what Dylan said, the dude has such a high ceiling. I mean, obviously all you guys have known that I'm a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I've been a big believer in Jalen Hurts. A lot of you guys don't agree with me, obviously, but it's just like, I don't know, dude. I see a lot in that kid, and I think that, you know, and being such an athletic specimen, being Jalen Hurts, coming into Alabama, lifting the most in every single position group, coming in as a freshman, outlifting everybody, including the linemen, being as fast as he is, being as skilled as he is on the football field. I don't know. I think that kid has a massive ceiling, you know. So
right. Well, when you compare his first 15 career starts versus Lamar Jackson's, I mean, they damn near have the same amount of passing yards. Jalen Hurts has 3 more touchdown passes, 1 less turnover, and damn near the same amount of first downs as Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson has weapons. Jalen Hurts not so much.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson didn't have those weapons, though, when he first got into the league.
When he began. Yep.
Very true.
And so I think when you look at how they're going to operate this, I do think it's a great take. I think more teams or more people should be talking about how that's definitely a scenario that could happen. I definitely think, though, the Eagles with 3 picks in the middle of the first and being able to they could trade up for players that they like easily. They could keep one of those first in the middle of the round, trade up for a player that they really love. I think in that middle of the pack, they could draft another receiver that can really complement Devontae Smith, really help out there, because they have no one besides him, besides Dallas Goedert. But I'm talking about receivers here. You go out, draft another O-lineman, probably interior. It's getting a little old. I love their tackles right now, Lane Johnson and the kid. I forgot the other kid on the left side. Go and get another interior O-lineman. And then at that point, draft secondary or draft interior D-line. Jordan Davis will probably be around there. You could get probably Khair Elam out of Florida for your outside. The other kid, Trent Duffy from Washington, will probably be around there.
I like Duffy.
McDuffie. I think there are so many great players that can really upgrade your team while you still have a young and high ceiling quarterback in your system that you could easily slot in those players, have great potential with those players. And who knows, all of them, if every single one of them exceeds on top of the players that you already have, they could come out of that division winning it. They could easily win that division.
Absolutely.
I think
one of the weaker divisions.
They use their picks correctly. I don't want to see no stupid picks like how they drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. I don't care about high ceiling players right now. I need players that have high floors. I know are going to come in and get the job done, and they'll have a great team at that point. I mean, they have almost everything I'm looking for in a team. They just have to prove it at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's rare in a case with the Eagles, because with these 3 first-round picks, it's rare to see a whole team essentially, besides some aging players on a couple sides of the ball, but practically a whole team on the same timeline. You know, kind of building that new Eagles culture together.
Yeah, no, completely. Like every one of their key players that you look at right now are young at this point. You have the
Super
aging
young.
ones that are aging out. Fletcher Cox is still a dog, but I mean, Brandon Graham's getting a little old. Derek Barnett, I think, is a free agent this year.
Derek Barnett is a free agent.
But all the other core players at this point are still young, still available. I mean, Lane Johnson's getting up, but he's like what, 30 at right tackle. He could play for almost 10 more years. And that O-line,
about 10 more years at tackle.
no, I guarantee. I don't think y'all understand how old
Andrew Whitworth is
Jason
40.
Peters came back.
I
and
feel
he was
like Andrew
22.
Whitworth is more of an anomaly than the standard, though.
Nah, Jason Peters came back and played for the Bears at left tackle at 40 years old. There are plenty of players that can play late 30s. I'm not saying he's going to be 40 on the dot, but I could definitely see him going into his late 30s still playing if he thinks that team can give him a shot at a Super Bowl. Another one.
If I had to put a guess on like an age he retires, I would say like 34. I mean, that dude has been banged the fuck up in his career.
Yeah, and JJ Watt said he was going to retire as soon as he was out of his prime. And look,
Yeah,
he's
JJ
been here
Watt's
3
a
more
fucking
times.
robot from another planet, dude. We're talking about human beings
Yeah,
here.
let's fucking go. Come on now. Come on now.
The whole Watt
Playing-
family, bro. They're not from
Playing in
here.
the playoffs with the whole last torn bicep and shit.
Doctors said that his injury was like career ending. He comes back for the playoffs. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And he's busting through the line and shit, and still, yeah. Trev, I know you have your coach grade on Doug Peterson.
Yes,
What you got?
I like the hire in Doug Peterson for Jacksonville. Honestly, I mean, you look in 2016 when he got the job, or he got the job before in his first year in 2016. They went 7-9, and then the next year following, he takes them to a Super Bowl with a 13-3 record, and makes Carson Wentz almost MVP candidate. Like, it's kind of the same situation we're looking at here with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So
Oh,
what
yeah.
are you predicting for this next Jaguar season then?
Definitely not like crazy like turnaround. Like, there's still a lot of missing pieces there, but there is a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I
Number
mean,
one
not-
pick
I
will
mean,
help
not-
that too.
Not to mention, he also went to the Super Bowl and went through the whole playoffs with a backup.
Mhm.
exactly with the help of Nick Foles.
Yeah, no, I agree, Trev. I think the
Solid,
Jags
though.
made the right move there. I feel like a lot of teams like get like that thought of like, oh, we need to make the next like young, flashy splash hire. And
Yeah.
nah, the Jags are smart. They got a young quarterback. That's enough young splashiness to deal with. Go
Need
get you a
somebody to just
vet
help.
who's been in the playoffs, who's worked with a young quarterback. No, I agree, Trev.
Yeah, no, it was a great take.
I mean,
Honestly.
I'll tell you one hire I didn't really like too much, and I'll let you know why after I hear you, Demodge, was actually Lovie Smith. My least favorite coaching hire up to now, but I know you gave your grade on him.
Really quick, can we all agree that the Lovie Smith hire was definitely the worst coaching hire in this carousel this
No.
offseason?
Strongly disagree.
I don't think
Really?
I can
I don't think-
agree. I can
I don't
agree.
think it's worse,
close.
Really?
but
I can
I-
agree. I mean,
when I look at a team, I look at the whole Texans organization. It is just a shit show, just absolute shit show. Lovie Smith, in his time with the Bears, didn't do anything insanely special, but he always had an amazing defense. That was basically all they were known for the whole time he was coaching with them. Amazing defense. And with how the offense is looking with so much uncertainty, you don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to come back, if he even wants to play at this point for the Texans because of the coaching change, if Davis Mills is your answer. I think with a defensive-minded coach, they don't have bad pieces on defense. They have Justin Reed. They have the kid out of U of A, actually, D-line. I forgot his name. He had a phenomenal season. He's actually Tucson native. He played really well. There are little pieces on the defense where I think Lovie Smith can come in, fix that spot. And if defense gets fixed and they feel like, you know what, Lovie's not that guy, it is what it is. He's done his time. He's coming back just to coach a team that literally has nothing to fight for except their pride at this point. I think it's a hire that is a short-term hire. It wasn't expected to be a long-time hire. It's basically that guy that, oh, it didn't work.
It's a bridge coach.
Huh?
It's a bridge coach, essentially.
It's a bridge coach. You know how like the bridge quarter, it's a bridge coach. You get what you need, fire him, then you find the guy that you genuinely like. I think the what's the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs?
Bieniemy.
I think honestly, that's who they'll hire. Lovie Smith is that scapegoat guy right now. And I think it's a fucked up move, in my opinion, to do that to somebody, but it's a smart move on their part. Having someone that knows the NFL, knows how to run a team, come in, get some players that genuinely will play well. Then you plot someone in that can actually change the team for the better, actually like move them in a direction that you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was the worst hire. Definitely was the best though.
I don't think it was the best hire by any means, but I definitely don't think it was the worst. I mean, Lovie Smith has a winning record in the NFL. His total career record in the NFL is 92-90. He's taken a team to a Super Bowl. He's led top-rated defenses. Like, this is not a bad hire at all. This is a guy who was in the organization last year, got to know a lot of the players, a lot of the personnel. He's a guy who's well-liked in the locker room, and he's a guy who knows his shit. He's not coming in here to try to put something together with some young rookie quarterback and like build some long-term relationship. He's coming in because this is, like, to be honest, this is the weakest division in football. And the Texans, realistically, if they use their cap space and they get good free agents and they figure out this Deshaun Watson situation and they make a good third overall pick and good picks throughout the whole draft, the Texans realistically have a shot at competing in that division next year. And I think Lovie Smith has the best chance at getting them there because he's a seasoned vet, once again, who knows his shit and has taken good teams with good defenses and bad quarterbacks, Rex Grossman, to the Super Bowl. So I like it. I like it a lot. If you bring some young guy in there, he doesn't have his quarterback yet. You know, I don't think a young guy would have worked. I think that a seasoned vet like this is good. And I do agree he is probably a bridge coach, but he's bridging the gap between Josh McCown being signed as the head coach there, not the enemy.
Right.
I
think Josh McCown is destined to be the Texans head coach sooner or later.
Okay.
I mean, a couple of things going off of both of you. Dimaj, when you were saying about, talking about, the Bears defense with Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith's kind of the defensive equivalent to David Coley, who they just kind of fired. Back to Teisty about his 92-90 record. Since 2012 in college and NFL, his record's 43-77 as a head coach.
Yeah, but he was coaching the Illinois Fighting Illini football. He was coaching football at a basketball school. I mean, I'm not going to hold his record in college too much against him because his stint with Illinois was not great. But and what he inherited the 2014 Buccaneers. I mean, weren't they in position to draft first overall?
Yeah, they were shitty that year. Yeah.
I mean, I would argue because I don't think this Texans team is really that bad. When Tyrod Taylor was healthy this last season, they were playing pretty good football. And Davis Mills, like, I think Davis Mills is a pretty good player too. Like, if Davis Mills was in this year's draft, I think we'd be talking about Davis Mills as the first quarterback off the board,
I think the Texans have a lot. It's one of those teams where they have a lot of like flatline players, but there is no one that I look at that team and I'm just like, yeah, that team gives me hope. I see a future. There's no one
Brandon
like
Cooks,
that actually genuinely.
Brandon Cooks
he's getting towards the end of his career at this point.
Yeah,
he's barely 30.
Receivers start to decline at that point, and it's not a player that I'm looking at that I'm like I can build my team around him at this point.
Yeah, but you got to look at where is this Texans team headed, and obviously there's no one on the roster currently that really gives you any hope. And the reason I don't agree with the Lovie Smith hire is because even though you signed a veteran coach who knows everything, yes, but that defense still struggled in the latter parts of last year. And I just think that it's kind of an overall need for the Texans to just change. You know, they gotta rebrand themselves right now, and they gotta figure out where their direction is, because they don't have one.
Yeah. No, you're completely right about that. I mean, it's just it's a team where it's like you're walking into just a shit show, a literal fire in the dumpster. You don't know what to do at this point. The whole organization just doesn't know what's going on at this point. The players, I don't think, are don't even know what's going on at this point. They just hope to get out of Houston. I mean, I think Lovie Smith at this point, I think, can really at least bring a culture. I think that's what I want, is he can bring a culture for a short term to a team that needs a leader and has damn near no talent.
And Tice, just to note, Brandon Cooks is a free agent after next year. So there's no real room for, can you keep him, or what are you going to do? Would you build around him? Because
I'm not saying he's a long-term piece. I'm saying going into next year, I think next year, if they make the right hires with the pieces they have and Lovie Smith, I think they could contend in their division. I'm not saying they're a goddamn Super Bowl team or even like a good playoff team, but I think in that weak division, because I'm not super sold on the Titans. I love Vrabel, but the Titans in general,
they need a change at quarterback.
I think,
yeah.
I love the Titans. I think they get a lot of slander. I don't believe in Tannehill. I don't believe in him at all. But I think the Titans get a lot of hate. I think we all forget they were the number 1 seed. Like, I understand Tannehill is not that guy, but they were the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry for majority of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They are a good team. They're well coached. They have plenty of good players on that roster. It was an unhealthy team as well. I think you put in all those players come back healthy, ready to go. I think the Texans can compete, yes, in their division, but the Titans are still slept on for how good they played and how well they competed in a tough against the Chiefs, against the Bills. They were the number 1 team. And I don't think everybody realizes that. And it's sorry to see, because everybody just thinks about how they had 9 sacks. That's a crazy thing. They still couldn't find a way to win with Tannehill. And I think Tannehill is not that guy, but the rest of the team showed that they are an amazing football team. You slot in a different quarterback, Carson Wentz, and that team plays a lot better. I don't know. I think you get literally any quarterback that everybody's talking about trade-wise right now. Look at Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. You put any of those guys in, that team is easily my Super Bowl favorite. Easily. I don't have to think about it twice. That is my Super Bowl favorite.
Here's the thing, and I agree, I'm not sold on Tannehill, but here's why I don't think Carson Wentz would work either, because like you look at Carson Wentz in Indianapolis and you look at Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, like both those offenses, I feel like they rely on getting their big plays on the ground. And I don't think that you can do that in this like current day NFL. Like you can have a strong run game and that can really help you out. But like when when you get like most of your big explosive plays and chunk plays on the ground and rely on really dominant running backs, I feel like that's what screws you come end of the season and getting into the playoffs. And that's why the Colts choked their playoff berth in week 18 and why the Titans got upset in the divisional round after a first round bye, number 1 seed. I feel like both of those quarterbacks just aren't the guys who like are going to be able to lead those big vertical offenses. Therefore, those teams I'm not sold on them.
But I think if that you were to theoretically put Wentz on the Titans, Wentz he's gonna outperform what everyone's gonna project him to be, because he's got a top 20, top 15, wherever you guys want to rank him, wide receiver, and AJ Brown that he's never had. He's never had a dominant outside threat to be able to be like, here, I need you to make the play because I can't, and do something with the ball.
And you got to think about how Julio's your number 2. Julio's your number 2 receiver who's taking away all these other people looking at AJ Brown. You have a wider variety of options. You look at their 2 offenses, they're damn near the same offense. Power run game, straight up the middle, run play action, right off of it, deep shots. Tannehill, 21-14, lower completion percentage versus Carson Wentz, who was 27-7, higher completion percentage, higher big plays, higher passer rating. He played better with worse weapons. You put him in offense where he gets AJ Brown, he gets Julio Jones, he gets Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, I'll slot him in, whatever. You give that to him. I think he outperforms Tannehill 10 times out of 10. And that team, I still think I think I will take them as a top 3 in the AFC. And I will have confidence in saying I think they could win the Super Bowl with Carson Wentz.
I mean, similar Carson Wentz too. I mean, yeah. No, go ahead, Trev.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, I was just going to throw this in there. But that Ryan Tannehill, I think, single-handedly lost in that playoff game. Their defense went out there and outperformed with 9 sacks, and he did what?
9.
He threw a pick on the first play of the game. He threw a pick on the opening play of the halftime, and he threw a pick on his last play on offense.
Arguably the 3 most important throws of a game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all a pick.
First one. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
And I don't think Carson Wentz would have done that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, yeah, he might not have. But Carson Wentz with the Eagles, in his good year. I mean, who did he have as weapons there as well? I mean, he had Alshon Jeffrey.
Old.
Who else? Arcega Whiteside.
Smith.
Who else? Torrey Smith.
Torrey-
Yeah, old.
He had Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
He had
Zach
LeGarrette
Ertz.
Blount. It's
Corey
a
Clement.
very, very similar offense when you look at it to how the Titans are ran now. It was a very similar offense. LeGarrette Blount is like the Walmart, it's like the Kroger brand, Derrick Henry. Kroger brand. Alshon Jeffrey. I think it's a very similar offense to how
the other thing about the Titans, though, is I can't put much stock in the fact that they have Julio Jones because, like, that dude can't stay on the field.
Okay, but
I feel like the last 2-3 years of Julio's career has just been like some sort of injury keeping him out a quarter to a half of the season. Like
you still got to think about that being one of the top 5 greatest receivers of all time, though. I mean, that guy arguably, I don't know.
It's true that he's never healthy, and that's the reason why the Falcons let him go. That's why he's never on the field. But it's not about what he can produce. It's about what he opens up, because because you can't leave another 6'3", 220-pound wide receiver who can probably still go up and get it if he needs to on an island with another corner. It's just about who do you want to pick your battles with.
Yeah. Right. Shit. Let's talk about Zion. Obviously we all know what's going on with him. He's injured or whatever. Gain a little bit of weight. I mean, when you look at Zion, he's coming out of high school and this dude's already popular. He's already pretty much one of the top guys in the league, and he's coming out of high school. He hasn't even hit Duke yet. You know what I'm saying?
Already the number 1 pick in the draft.
Exactly. Yeah. He's 6'7", 285 coming out of high school, which is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, obviously we've all heard, Pelicans traded for CJ McCollum. Didn't hear a single word from Zion until CJ McCollum actually came out publicly saying they haven't spoken yet. Next day, Zion hits him up. JJ Redick obviously calls him a detached teammate. He's obviously not fully invested in the Pels, in any of his teammates or his body. If you actually sit down and watch a Pels game, more than likely you're not going to see Zion there on the bench. You might a few times here and there, but in reality, you look at all these guys. Everybody has someone they look up to. Like LeBron, KD, Steph, all these guys Zion is looking up to coming out of high school. Like, shit, I want to be like that. And he could have been. He still could be. He's got to get his shit together.
Yeah, I mean, does this dude just fucking hate basketball or what? Like, he has the talent, he has the opportunity and the potential to be an all-time great. And it just seems like every step of the way in his career, he's just done the lazy, the easy, the it doesn't seem like he wants to be a leader. It just seems like he's like phoning it in for like his one shot he has to be an NBA all-time great, which like was kind of the expectation, maybe a little unfairly, that was set for him pretty much since high school. But I mean, and obviously the injuries aren't his fault, but I mean, it just seems like he doesn't have the urgency to like do all the right things with his body and his training to get back from that injury. It just like, obviously he's like detached and doesn't go to games to support his teammates. I don't know. It really seems like this dude just hates basketball, or this is all just like he's playing chess to try to get out of New Orleans because he hates New Orleans. I don't know. But
Well,
it's really sad to see, honestly. I mean, Zion going before Ja is looking just like Greg Oden going before KD as of right now.
Well, I'll say that I've read a couple of things on the whole Zion case. You know, it's probably one of the biggest mystery cases within the NBA currently right now. And a lot of the reason on Zion not coming back, or however you want to pick at it, it's the fact that there's no built-in trust between Zion, the Pelicans athletic training staff, and the Pelicans GMs. It seems to me as there is no communication from all three levels on what's going on, what needs to be done to get him back on the court.
I think at this point, it's just one of those scenarios where Zion just needs to leave. They need to find a way to get him out.
Fresh start.
It's not healthy for anybody at this point. I mean, they tried with CJ, they tried to help, but like he's tuned out. He does not want to be there. I mean, it's obvious. And I think with how his health has been, there's a both ways argument that he's not taking care of himself, but also the athletic training staff's not doing him justice. They're not truly doing what they need to keep him healthy. At this point, I feel like Zion could fit with a lot of teams great. And if with the other thing is there's no leadership, I feel like, with the Pelicans. There's no one to actually control the locker room and actually make him get up off his ass and work.
That's a tough thing, though, is I feel like the Pelicans brought him in to be that guy. I feel like that's kind of the weight that you carry with being a number one overall pick. Like, okay, I am the franchise now. And I feel like he just fumbled that bag. And I feel like he fumbled that task, you know?
Like, I think that's what they drafted him as, but I don't think that's ever what he was supposed to be. He was this super athletic bounce guy with a super high ceiling, but he wasn't, I don't think he was that vocal leader in that locker room. It definitely was, forgot his name. He's on the Knicks.
RJ Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett was that leader. Barrett was that guy that controlled the locker room. And it's evident now. I mean, he's always been that guy. Zion was not that guy. Zion would do well with someone else, whole another locker room with a coach that is a leader and another star player that already has control of their locker room that just needs help. So, I don't know. I think it's a weird case.
Yeah.
Think about it.
What's up, Bush?
I was going to say, think about it this way. I mean, the guy who's been on your team the longest that plays a whole ton is Brandon Ingram. And Brandon Ingram hasn't even been in the league for that long, if you really think about it. I mean, Brandon Ingram is a stud, but I don't think he's that guy in the locker room either, if you really think about it. I mean.
But I also don't hear you don't hear Brandon Ingram saying anything or speaking on what's happening. It kind of seems like the whole organization is kind of just doing themselves, kind of doing the bare minimum to kind of skate by.
Yep.
I mean, I guess in a positive way for the Pels, Zion Williamson will, still has potential to have, a high trade value. So the Pels could, give away Zion, maybe even Brandon Ingram as well for top guys.
I don't think they trade away Brandon. I don't think they traded Ingram away right now.
That's just really disgraceful to me. That just right off the bat, Zion gave absolutely nothing to the team who spent a number one overall pick on him.
Yeah, no, just making
if this is just a long-term scheme to get out of New Orleans, that's just disgraceful. That's a bigger cupcake move than KD leaving the Thunder. Like, to give absolutely nothing to the team who drafted you number one overall and just immediately right off the bat do everything you can to get out. That's terrible. I wouldn't want him in my locker room. I don't care how talented he is. Like, if that's the case, I don't see any team really wanting that in their locker room.
I mean, that's how I kind of feel about Kyler as well, love him to death. Obviously, he's going to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback to ever, be in the Cardinals. But if he's not on the sideline, picking someone up, James Conner drops a pass, it's picked off. You see him standing on the field yelling at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you be like, hey man, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Get everyone, keep everyone pumped up and in the game. It's gonna do well. With playoff game in the Rams, he didn't even want to come back in and finish the game because of how bad it was. But it's like that's kind of his fault too, because everyone's down when your quarterback's down.
But the big difference between being a first round draft pick in the NFL to the number one draft pick in the NBA is, especially with a quarterback in Kyler Murray's case, you already step into the job knowing that you're going to be the guy for at least a couple of years, and that you are going to have to be the one to mature and grow and be that leader. Like because in football, the quarterback touches the ball every single play. Probably the most important position in football, and that's why Kyler Murray, he's salty at it, but he's not completely taken himself out of the organization, is what it seems like Zion has.
Right.
And then to go back on the Pelicans regretting on if they chose Zion over Ja. Dude dropped 52 last game he played. That's officially a Grizzlies record.
The Grizzlies were the last team to not have a 50-point score.
To have a 50-point score. Ja does it.
Wow.
Ja's
I mean,
I was talking about last episode. Dude is just fucking electric, dude. I mean,
that buzzer beater.
That guy can do everything. That guy can do literally everything. Buzzer beater, deep threes, dunking on everybody, dribbles.
That buzzer
passes,
beater was out of
defense.
this world. I've never seen anything
crazy.
Like that.
0.4 seconds. 0.4 seconds. Full court lob in the baseline and just heaved it up there.
Insane.
He is just,
and he had that 360.
electric.
He had that 360 layup too
Mhm.
in that game.
Yeah,
You're crazy.
Kid's just electric.
I will say about Ja, and don't get me wrong, Ja deserves his flowers, no doubt. And I'm a big Ja fan. I think that he's so fun to watch and absolutely special. But I will say that, this this kind of looks like a cautionary tale a little bit, like of something that we've seen before. He's very athletic. Like, he's very reliant in his game on his athleticism. His 3-point shooting is like nowhere near great.
Has been recently. Has been good recently.
Recently it's been better, but for the season, I think he's like 117th ranked in 3-point. And I just I keep my fingers crossed that for the next 5 to 10 years of this dude's prime, that he can, stay nimble and stay light on the knees enough to make this thing last longer than like a D Rose or a John Wall, because he is so fun to watch. And I think that he can like lead the Grizzlies to a championship and like establish himself as one of the greats of all time, like be standing on that NBA 100 stage in 25 years. But I really hope that he stays healthy, because like this does look a lot like some young D Rose, just absolutely incredible at the start, but then one knee injury could derail the whole thing. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because I love Ja, but this is a cautionary tale.
About, 3-point percentage like you're talking about 34%. So
if he can improve that enough to like over the next like 10 years of his career transition to being a more like jump shot reliant player, that would really help him out to where he doesn't have to, take those big explosive jumps towards the basket 20 times a game.
Yep. I mean, look at again, like look at MJ, look at Kobe, look at LeBron. When they were young, they were all explosive, and then as they gradually grow up, they rely more on the jump shot. They rely more on post moves. They rely more on even just their teammates scoring. I mean, Kobe, MJ, LeBron, all big dunk guys, big bodies. Get up there, fly with the rest of them. But then if you look at it now, MJ goes bald, fade away, patented fade away. Kobe goes bald, patented fade away. LeBron, his patchy haircut, what's he doing now? Patented fade away. I mean, they're relying more on that fader on actual. They're relying more on skill and putting the work in rather than just their athleticism. So,
I know a few of us, especially Trev, has been dying to fucking hit up some UFC. Let's start it up. Kane Velazquez. I did some digging in his story. Obviously, he's facing obviously in jail and he's being held without bail, being charged with attempted murder. I actually read the story.
I think he's
I don't
right.
think,
As
dude,
did I.
I think he's in the right as well. Yeah, I don't think he should be, being in jail for 15 the rest of his life.
He shot a week prior to that, was facing a felony charge of lewd and lascivious, or however you say the word is, with a child. And he actually lives in a house where his mom runs a daycare.
Wasn't it like a relative?
Oh, are you guys talking about the story? Sorry, I zoned out. I text somebody back. The UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kane Velazquez.
Yeah. So the real story, what happened was his babysitter was molesting and touching his child.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So was touching his kid, all that. Took it to court, got a slap on the wrist, got out of jail, basically just had to wear an ankle bracelet. He goes after him, shooting a gun in the air. Did not hit anybody technically, but the cops did pull him over.
Not true. He did hit somebody. He hit
He did?
someone.
Yeah, he hit one of the dude's homies because he was shooting out a car. The dude.
Yeah.
It was an 11-mile high-speed chase, and he did shoot, I want to say, the babysitter's grandfather in the arm, but thankfully there was no there's no real threat to death or threat to a major injury, so glad for that.
Honestly,
I mean, being if convicted, he's facing 15 to life. I mean, if someone touched my kid like that, I'd shoot him too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure anybody else would with the right mind.
Yeah.
Morally, I feel like we can all agree with what Kane Velazquez did. It's just something out of protection. As a father, you kind of want, you definitely don't want anything like that happening to your kid. Right. So morally, I do stand with him, but like, he's also a UFC fighter. Why not? How do you not manage to get your hands on him at least? Like, I feel like if you got your hands on him, maybe the charges wouldn't be so.
Well, it technically would still be the same charge because his hands are registered as legal weapons.
True. So, okay, but he's facing multiple gun charges. He's facing charges with like having a weapon and having ill intent to do such actions. So there are multiple charges that are being added to his case that could have kind of been avoided if maybe he didn't use the gun per se.
Mm-hmm. I think in his head, the fists weren't going to be enough to get the job done that he was looking for. He wasn't trying to just beat his ass. He was trying to finish him off. And if he did just use his fists and he ended up not getting to that point where his mind was at, it would have been just as bad, if not worse, because his hands are registered legal weapons. The ill intent was still there. Everything, he would have had a lot of the same charges in that case. It's just when that scenario happens, you fade out, you black out, you get very emotional, things happen, and at that point, the best way of getting what in his mind done was with the gun. And I think at this point, like, yeah, everybody can agree. A lot of people in that same scenario would do the same damn thing. I don't think anybody is going to be like, oh, well, no, you touch my kid, you're going to die.
Maybe we can talk about it.
Shit like that. Like, you don't need to say it like any other way. You do some shit like that, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sad because you want him to handle it in a better way. And I can't say whether or not he handled it his way. And I'm not going to disagree with it. It's just sad because you wish that it could have been handled better by the court, getting that kid that did that shit in a position where he was locked up, he was locked away. And it's just sorry, not even on his part, but just the system as a whole.
So even though these cases are completely different, but being, let's say you're top of the world. I mean, Kane Velazquez was an ex-UFC heavyweight champion, top of the world, baddest man on the planet, what they say. It reminds me a lot of the Aaron Hernandez case. Completely different cases, completely different reasons, but top of the world going straight to the bottom in a matter of one day. You know what I mean?
Is he though? Is he really going to the bottom like Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah,
did?
he's
Kane has a lot of people behind him.
I mean,
Kane has a lot of does have support from other UFC fighters and fighters in general in this case, but the difference.
I'm talking prison time. I'm talking prison time.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, we're just gonna have to see, whether he comes out guilty or not guilty, whatever the verdict may be.
I mean, 15 years. That's obviously the least as of right now that he can get. But I feel like that's pretty general attempted murder. I guess not really. The 15 years is still a grip, but I mean, I guess I mean, the world nowadays, everyone's kind of sensitive, So I mean, would he really even be able to fight again if he's not even convicted? Because
Dana wouldn't let him fight again if he was convicted.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he's retired now, but
yeah, he's been retired for like at least 5 years.
Right, you're right.
Speaking of UFC, Masvidal v Covington this weekend, big fight. Big fight. I mean, granted, everybody's looking forward to that. But I mean, the same with the main card. I mean, they still got some really, really good fights. I mean, Kevin Holland's fighting this weekend. He's electric. Dude talks to you. Dude talks to you, says some crazy things when he's punching you right in the face. Super excited for that fight. Edson Barbosa fighting Bryce Mitchell. Edson Barbosa has arguably one of the most iconic head kick knockouts the UFC's ever seen. I mean, dude has put his name, patented sign right next to the spinning heel kick to somebody's head, knocked him out cold. And RDA fights. I forget who he's fighting. Rafael dos Anjos. I forget who he's fighting. But
he's fighting Renato Moicano.
Yeah, and so the experience that RDA has compared to that guy, I mean, I don't know. But the Masvidal Covington fight. Here's the thing. My view on that is goes to the ground. Everybody knows who's winning that. Covington's winning that with ease. But if Covington decides to dude has a massive ego. I think if he decides to use the ego during the fight, tries to stand with Masvidal, I think we're going to see a whole different fight. I think Masvidal takes it. If he decides to swing, Covington goes to the ground.
I mean, because there is real beef there,
Oh yeah,
there is some tension going on. So they're both definitely going to be hashing it out.
Okay. Let me ask you this: do you think that this is all real beef, or is it kind of a whole facade? Because Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal were training partners a couple years ago.
Roommates.
They were really close. So, I mean, I haven't really heard anything about the fallout of.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
I think it's a little bit both too. I think there's a little grudges. I just think they're over exaggerating it a little more just for the publicity of it.
Get a bag.
That's what all fighters do. Like a lot of these Conor McGregor fights, and all these pre-games, he's out there cussing people out, calling them bitches, calling them all this shit, But at the end of the day, they're just businessmen doing business. You know what I'm saying? They're having fun beating each other's faces in, and at the end of the day, it's all respect.
Talk John Jones and Daniel Cormier after the second fight, after John Jones and Cormier finally fought again for the second time. As soon as the fight's over and Cormier's crying after the fight, obviously he's sad, lost his belt. John Jones literally grabs the mic from Rogan's hand and literally thanks him for everything. He said, "You made me the fighter that I am, even after all the beef that they've had." Literally thanks the man, So
yeah, I believe after the fight there would be something similar to that. In a way, I don't think it's going to be still cold blood after the fight.
Yeah.
But I mean, that'll be our answer. If it's still all cold blood, then it's like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like what happened,
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure one of them's gonna be like, thanks for the fight, brother, respect you and all that. And the other one's probably gonna be like,
run it back.
A rematch. Yeah, run it back. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I mean, because Masvidal hasn't won a fight since 2019. It's been a few years since he's even won a fight, and he's only fought. And it was Nate Diaz.
Yeah, it was kind of a
no slouch, but
no slouch. Nate Diaz is a great fighter, no, but
Right.
that fight for the baddest motherfucker belt was really just something for the fans because we didn't really have any championship fights that could have been set to schedule for a little while. So that was kind of a feeling.
Right.
Granted, Kamaru Usman, arguably one of the greatest 170s out that has ever graced the face of the UFC. So
No doubt.
I mean, and he fought Usman too twice since then, and those were his only 2 fights since the Nate Diaz fight was against Usman.
and both knockouts. So
Well, knockouts. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anyways, but back
But
to
again,
the fight. My opinion, I think I don't like Colby Covington as a person. I know it doesn't matter when it comes to fighting, but I think he wins this no matter what. I think he hits harder than Jorge. He's better on the ground than Jorge. He can take more hits than Jorge. I think he wins this.
Well, I mean, Colby Covington is the -320 favorite on money line for this fight, so he's pretty favored here. I mean, who do you guys think, like, you know, if it's Masvidal won or if Covington won, who do you think they're calling out next? Because, you know, you got
definitely a title fight. It's definitely got to be a title fight. I mean, Masvidal's lost to him twice, like you said, in the last 2 years. But if Covington wins this fight, he's 100% calling out Usman. He already doesn't like Usman. He's already fought him once, lost to him again. Yep.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, he's going to call him out again. Or what's his name? Who just won the last it was like 271. No, 271. There was a shoot.
Adesanya.
I forget. 271. There was another welterweight fighter who was calling out Usman. So
I mean,
he start.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and finish your thoughts.
I was gonna say he's 37 though. The guy I forget his name completely, but the guy who called out Usman's 37. He's arguably in the best shape he's ever been in, and he's been in the UFC for quite some time. So I don't know if they're gonna make him fight the winner of this fight first and then proceed to go to Usman if he wins, or the winner of this fight goes straight to Usman. I don't know.
So to kind of continue off of what Bish is saying, if Colby Covington wins, he's the number 1 ranked fighter outside of the champion Kamaru Usman. So if Covington were to win, Covington is going to get his next title shot. But looking at it right now, Gilbert Burns, who just beat Stephen Thompson in UFC 264,
Yep.
he doesn't have a scheduled fight next, and he is the 2nd ranked fighter behind Covington. And Leon Edwards, who is the 3rd ranked fighter behind Burns and Covington himself, just won against Nate Diaz in 263. So
Leon Edwards looks sharp right now, and so does Gilbert.
he
Burns.
does. He does.
So,
Like Gilbert Burns more though.
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely going to see a Gilbert Burns Kamaru Usman if Masvidal somehow comes out on top.
and who do you have winning this fight, Si?
I definitely have Colby Covington. I gotta go with Covington. You know, he's better on the ground.
Yep.
He has a background in wrestling already, so that kind of gives him the slight advantage on the ground. And looking at the strike stats, Covington lands about 4.114 strikes per minute. Masvidal lands 4.22. So, you know, they're not really landing any more or any less strikes than normal. And Colby Covington has a greater absorption rate of taking more hits and being able to last a little longer.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that due to this being such a big rival fight, it's going to change anybody's like actual like plan going into this, or do you think that they're just going to stick to it and go with it?
No, I think Colby knows what he's got to do. He also averages about 3.5 more takedowns per match than Masvidal, and Masvidal's takedown defense is only at a merely 70, which is still pretty high. It's great for a welterweight, but you know, going up against someone who averages 4 takedowns in every 15 minutes, you know, he's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot a lot, and Masvidal's got to be ready to expect that. And I just think that Colby Covington is the stronger fighter.
Granted, Kamaru Usman, champion, obviously. His takedown defense is far, far better than Masvidal's. The last time Covington fought him, I believe the stats were he was 1 for 10 in total takedown attempts. I believe the stats were. So I don't know if that's just because he was tired or just because the Usman's actual just far better takedown defense, but I don't know if that's just going to be into play this fight or not. I know he's definitely going to shoot, but I don't know if Masvidal is really going to focus on takedown defense and groundwork this time, or he's just going to try to strike with him. So,
well, I mean, working out with a guy for a couple years, in years prior, you got to know what his tendencies are. You got to know what he likes to do. I mean, obviously, besides the fact of just watching over previous fights of his. So I feel like we're going to see a really prepared Masvidal for this fight, but I don't think that his preparation is still going to be enough.
It'll be a very good fight. Highly anticipated, unless obviously also McGregor versus Poirier Part 2 was highly anticipated and didn't even go past the first round. So
Stop it.
hopefully it lasts at least to the final round and we get something good, nothing disappointing. But I'm sure it'll be a good fight.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of McGregor, did you see what he tweeted the other day?
I did see what he tweeted. He wants another title shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw an actual video of Dan talking on this. He said that whenever McGregor's ready, I'm not gonna actually quote him because I don't remember exactly what he said. But he said whenever McGregor's ready and whoever the champion is, if the champion wants McGregor, they're gonna get McGregor. If the champion doesn't want McGregor and he's ready to fight, he's gonna figure it out who McGregor's fighting. But if that champion, whenever McGregor's ready to finally fight again, if they want McGregor, they get McGregor. So
yeah,
understandable. I mean, I don't see why he would fight anybody else.
He's proved himself.
I don't see who
McGregor,
wouldn't want
Poirier.
McGregor either.
See
Yeah,
the thing is
no
though,
matter
I
what.
think that so we got Gaethje versus Oliveira coming up.
good fight.
May 7th coming up pretty soon, and whoever wins that fight is obviously going to be the champ. But big unnamed, well not unnamed, but big riser is Islam Makhachev. He's now ranked he's the 4 ranked fighter, and he has only one loss to his name, 11-1 in the UFC. He's coming off.
And you see who's in his corner.
You see in his corner Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he's coming off of 3 straight finishes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, his last one was against Bobby Green, and Bobby Green took that fight in like a week's notice.
So did Makhachev though. They neither of them had time to prepare for that camp.
But here's the thing about both of them taking it 1 week early. I think my opinion is everybody thought that Makhachev was going to win that fight. Everybody thought that was going to win that fight. He's younger. He's a dominant wrestler. He's dominant on the ground game, and he can strike. But here's the thing: when he wins that, he goes up no matter what, right? Here's the thing: Bobby Green wins that, he's shooting up the rankings, And I think people are going to expect or they're going to respect Bobby Green more because of the fact that he did take that fight that nobody wants to fight Makhachev right now. Nobody wants to fight.
Nobody does. Nobody, yeah, exactly. Because
he took that fight on short notice too.
And I think that people are going to respect Bobby Green more for taking that fight. Nobody expected him to win, but he went out there anyways.
He didn't even expect himself to win.
He just went out there to swing, dude. That's just who Bobby is.
Very true.
Oh yeah. Ty's closes out with the lay of the day.
Well,
Ali.
This Friday here is actually a bit of a light slate, so don't really got a parlay, but I do got a lock. All right.
A lock.
Tomorrow we got Richmond University traveling to St. Bonaventure University. I'm taking the St. Bonaventure Bonnies -4 at -110 odds. That's a lock. The the Bonnies are hitting their stride going into the tournament. So I'm riding that -4 all day.
Like it. I like it.
See you at the cash counter, Tyson.
Oh yeah.
Whoever the viewers are that stayed with us, we got a giveaway going on our Instagram
Hell yeah.
tomorrow, so we'll check out for that.
And do before we truly close this up, I'll take an L real quick, and it's gonna make Saya happy real quick. I'm sure he knows what just happened to the Bulls. Bulls actually just took a second straight L. Hawks beat them 130-124. Trae Young at 39, 13 and 3, and DeMar DeRozan at 22, 8, 7. So they covered the Hawks -1.5. So
well, when you guys got time, I got the notification and I watched it. John Morant with another highlight dunk. Straight poster on the oop. So you all have to do that.
Well,
against
all I gotta say is we were talking about Christian Watson earlier. I was waiting on his 40 time. He ran a 4.28.
Wow.
What?
Blazing.
Wow.
Yeah, the longest broad jump, one of the highest verticals, and ran one of the fastest 40s of any receiver at 6'4", 220 pounds.
his stock's gonna shoot up.
In this draft.
Yeah.
His stock's shooting up.
I would say I'd lock in Christian Watson probably being the second day pick for sure. Probably a second round, early to mid.
I think
For any
he's locked
team-
there. I think he
for any
low-key
team
could
that's
be first
wide
round as
receiver
well.
needs.
He could low key sneak into the first. Yep.
late.
That's crazy.
That concludes episode 2 of the lunch table.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 3 dropping Tuesday. Tuesday, same time, 7 a.m. Go peep that. Thanks for the love.
Got you.